later date. First of all, my name's Andy Bevan, for those that don't know me. I'm going to be hosting this tonight. Alongside me, not literally, okay, I've got Owen Batty, who's worked with me for a number of years now. O's a B licensed coach and works within our foundation age groups. He's also a full-time firefighter. He's now a housekeeper tonight as well, whilst he's still admitting people into this. And I just hope he doesn't get called out tonight, because we're going to be stuck if he is. Although, obviously, it will be priority. He has to go, he has to go. So, evening, O's, you all right?
Good, thank you, Andy.
Good man, good man. Okay, I'll put my phone on to mute because people are texting me on that at the moment. Also, in joining us tonight, we've got our other development centre manager at the moment that's in over at Cheltenham. So we got Job in at the moment. I'm not going to pronounce your surname, Job, because there's no way I can do that on this earth. So, and also attending, we are delighted that Anton's managed to attend tonight, our academy manager. So I'll introduce Anton in a bit. He's got a few slides that he's going to show to you guys as well. So just to give you a bit of a heads up on how this is going to run tonight, I'm going to present now for about 25 minutes, half an hour. This will roughly take, giving you a guide of what we're doing this season regarding the foundation and the youth phase. We did one with the post-16s program for our 18s and 21s on the 1st of June. And it is all going to be recorded, so we'll upload it to our YouTube channel. So those that haven't been able to make it, and I know there's a few unavailable tonight, it will be shared on there, so you'll be able to view it. Also, what we will do is any questions, if you want to pop them into the chat room, Oz will potentially answer as many as he can, but obviously he's going to be busy as well. And also, you know, listen, we were going to have a Q&A. We won't get round to that tonight, but any questions, you know, I think it's better you can go away, think about anything, and then come back to me and give me a shout on it. So without further ado, guys, we will crack straight on with it. Just check there's nothing else I need to do. I don't think there is. So
Andy, sorry, Andy, I've got Dave waiting to come in, and it's not giving me. It's not showing me he's waiting.
I clicked on that one that we clicked on before, and then it brought up a box, and before we ignored it, but then I clicked on the box.
Let me just check. I'm trying. Can you get him in or not?
It's not saying I've got anybody waiting, but
no.
He's apparently.
Oh well, you'll have to just try and get into it somehow. What we'll do is, guys,
I'll sort Dave out now. I'll sort him out.
You need sorting out, mate. Might take a little bit longer than you think.
I'll mute myself back now.
Okay, so basically, guys, this is a bit of a batting order of how we're going to go with tonight, just to give you a rundown of what we're going to cover tonight. I won't go over all of that now. I will come across that as we get into it, okay? Because there's going to be quite a bit that I want to cover tonight, and I know there's a lot of questions and answers out there. Okay, so first of all, just touching on last season at Hereford Academy. First of all, I want to apologise to all you guys that are in here that I haven't been able to personally speak to or get in touch with. I did send an email out on the way it ended last season. Not just because of the way it ended, but I just didn't want it to, you know, be done by social media like that. I know it's a big platform, but I think, you know, some things are needed to be done personally. So from my part, unfortunately, I had no control over that, but I just want to pass on my apologies to that. Was last season a success? To me, it was a massive success. We went from 7 teams to 15 teams, 113 players to 219 players when we closed the academy. The big important one for me was you guys at the foundation ages. We progressed it from 2 teams to 3 teams because we were just getting so much success in terms of the quality that we were bringing in. And I think that is a massive part. And then if you look, and I know this doesn't really cover you, but it's all about one. And that's what I feel, you know, going forward, we need to be thinking. If you look at our 18s, a record-breaking FA Youth Cup run, training with the first team on a number of occasions. When I took the first team, they come and trained. We had them in the training on our match day squad. They were included in the match day. We created links with the Category 1 academies, plus many others. And obviously now being linked with Cheltenham as their development centre, that will continue to grow. And we had 5 players from us go on to professional academies, even at 16 years old, which is massive because at that age, the pro club has to offer them a 2-year scholarship. Okay, the reason we've gone with Cheltenham, we had 5 clubs. So the minute the academy was closed, I had 2 full-time professional clubs, higher graded, League One, etc., inquire about taking us over. And some semi-pro clubs. I'm not going to name them because out of respect to them, and I just don't think there's any need to do that. But as always, I was brought up on the emphasis that you choose your employer and not your employment job. And with that in mind, I couldn't be happy with what we've gone with. You know, Cheltenham Town I've worked with before, as I'll touch on later, but just the right humility type people that we want to work with. The way they run their pathway has always been brilliant. Again, now talking about our 18s and 21s that'll go into this, then they will be, you know, working alongside their syllabus. And, you know, if players show potential, which I know that will happen, then they will get that opportunity. And I think, you know, working with Cheltenham, a big thing for them was the 21s program that we're going to do, which is going to show a massive pathway for all involved. But also, I think from you guys' point of view, one big selling point is the bottom one on that. Before we went to Hereford last year, you know, in 4 seasons, we had 36 players go from us, but predominantly in the foundation ages, the pro academies. So it shows that it can work, and that's massive. Why the difference for me between the 2 links and why we're at Cheltenham now, and this is not disrespecting any club or any reason, and I'm not going to sit here and do that. These are just facts. Cheltenham have been a full-time professional club since 1887. Now, I know some of you are old enough just to remember that. Obviously, I'm not. They are an EPPP club. And for those that don't know what the EPPP is, it's the Elite Player Performance Plan, which was brought in by the Premier League. And the EPPP was formed back in 2012. And Cheltenham got the Category 3 status, which was a massive amount of work. I was working for the club at the time, and it was huge. And so they did fantastically well. They went back in the Football League. And have set up their development scheme since 2000. And to date, they've had 39 professional players graduate from the academy to the football club, and 2 more this season, so Antoine tells me, which will make it 41 in 20 years. And even with my maths as a farmer, that's over 2. That is phenomenal. And it really is. To understand that level, to get that is very, very good indeed. Okay, my 3-year vision. 2020 to 2023. How does the pathway work? And again, I talk about to try and create a link, and this was the predominant thing for me with Cheltenham, and why, you know, it took literally days, 3.5 to get it over the line. They produce their own, and that to me is massive. And the 3-year vision for me, even at a lad joining at 18, he has got a 3-year pathway. So for some of you at 7 or 8 years old, you're probably thinking, well, crikey, that don't bother me. Trust me, it will fly. It will fly. Some of the boys that are in our pathway have been with us since they were under 10s. They're now going into our post 17s program, post 16s. So into our under 18s, 17s and 18s. So it will come around. It'll come around quicker than you expect as well. Our foundation ages progressed superbly last season, from, you know, being very successful in the 2 sides to having to add a 3rd side rather than release players or do whichever. And our currently youth side of our 13s or 14s, their pathway, they will become our 15s, 16s. If we don't add another team, which at the moment, you know, we're getting a lot of interest. You know, there's a lot of press publicity over about what we're doing. There's a lot of people interested in what we're doing, which is great. So just going on the link and the pathway, does it work? I put this picture up on the screen, and I've actually spoke to 2 of these parents that are on here today. These are lads that are in here that were actually with me when they were 8 and 9 years old, and they're now going into Cheltenham under 11s next season, I'm right in thinking. So we got top left of your screen is Finn Baldwin. Bottom left is Connor Whitehouse, and in the middle is Max Blaby. And Dan Brain is on the right-hand side. Dan Brain was our first one that went at 13 to Cheltenham. He's now, I think Dan's about 18. So he got through in the academy and was there till he was an under 16 when he was let go. On the top right, you've got the under 11s next year's squad, which obviously a couple of our boys are in. So it shows before we have the link with Cheltenham, how it can work and how it can potentially happen. And the next slide is an even better one. On this slide is the lad that's actually in goal for Cheltenham tonight. So on the bottom right picture, there he is in goal the other night. The left-hand one, bottom left, is when he saved the penalty in against Northampton. And on the top right, you've got him when he was when I signed him for myself at Hereford, and that was when he was 15 years old, and he played for Merthyr Tydfil. So he was just playing at a local. Merthyr Tydfil weren't as higher ranked as they are now, and he was playing for them. He played against us. He had a great game. We signed him. He didn't get in our 16s. You know, he's actually in the picture alongside Jared Bowen there, who's obviously doing quite all right at the moment at West Ham United. And there's obviously Owen on the top left playing for Wales under 21s last year. So it just goes to show, guys, that it can happen. You know, Owen again is in goal for us tonight. And, you know, he messaged me the other night after the game. And just so pleased for him, because like at 16, he couldn't get in our under 16 side. The other lad in goal there, Harvey, was ahead of him. As opportunities happens, Hereford folded when he was 17. The goalkeeping coach went to Wigan. He went to Wigan, and he's still there now, and that's why he's on loan at Cheltenham. So it will work, guys. Trust me, this will work, and that's why I'm so excited about it. What I will introduce now is I'm going to introduce Antoine. Antoine has been at Cheltenham for 13 years, okay? So no, he didn't start when he was 8. He's a little bit older than that. He started as a community coach when he was there. He then went on to a skills coach, followed to a lead coach. He then became an assistant coach. He then became the assistant academy manager, which he was when I was there. The then academy manager, Russ Milton, is the first team assistant manager, has been for 4 years now. So again, that to me shows what the club does. It tries to blend within its own. And Antoine became the academy manager 4 years ago when Russ went with the first team. Antoine also still plays football. I know it's quite a shock, but he does. He plays at Step 5, where we're open. Our 21s and 18s will be playing alongside that sort of standard next year. He's also done his Masters in Sports Development. He's got his Advanced Youth Award. He's an A licensed coach. And he's just going to do the next few slides for me. So, evening, Antoine. Are you all right?
Yeah, I'm good. Thank you. Yeah, flattered by that speech, mate. Thank you for that. No, listen, thank you. Hello, everybody. I know you can't say hello back because you're on mute, but yeah, thanks for having me tonight. I guess for me, yeah, I've been here 4 years now as academy manager. When Andy approached me about the development centre and told me about the situation that was happening with Hereford, for me it was a no-brainer. As you can clearly see, there's so many talented boys in the area. For me, it's providing those boys opportunity to be able to go up the pathway to hopefully one day reach their dreams. And also with that, as you can see, Andy Bevan and his team have got a proven track record to develop players, you know, so you're definitely in good hands there, that's for sure. From my perspective, just wanted to make sure you knew who we were really, because you're probably thinking, you know, who are Cheltenham Town underneath the success stuff that you talked about there in pros and people moving on. But ultimately, it's about, you know, this is what we're about here in our vision. You know, you say champions for youth, the motto is about being champions for you as people, both players, parents and staff. You know, everybody deserves a champion in their life. That's key, and I think that's a slogan that, you know, is right to say. But like everything, you know, it's human connection, and it's about people with respect, and making sure that we do, you know, honour that in terms of the academy. Do we insist that we become the best that we can be? Yes, that is what it's about. You know, everybody's environment is an elite environment, performance environment, and be that the staff, the players, everyone's got a dream to one day to progress. Okay. Yeah, underneath all that, in terms of our values, is that we go after professional players and professional staff. Talent identification, which is obviously you guys and the players in here, and recruiting the best boys to the academy. And then also obviously education, educating everybody, again, players, parents, staff, in all that we do at the club. And then the last one ran about sustainability. Like everything, this is one good thing about Cheltenham Town Football Club, is finances are run properly. You know, in terms of some clubs going under, we hopefully one day will be one of those clubs. In terms of our values, again, just so you know, we call it WISER. I think it's the ingredients for life in general. You know, so some boys will make it as pros, and some boys obviously won't, or many won't, as in fact, you know, but it's important that we produce human beings. And I think, you know, work ethic, integrity, solutions, you know, enjoyment of the football, which is definitely you'll get in terms of Andy's coaching, how his team works. And then obviously responsibility and almost, you know, looking at yourself and saying, you know, what can I do to get better? I think the next slide, Andy. In terms of the culture, SLR, some people say safety, learning and respect. We've just put safeguarding in there because I think it's highly important that word is at the forefront, especially in today's world, and, you know, things we see on the TV and all sorts of stuff, is that I think it's important that we all have a responsibility to protect those in our environment, and highlight any issues that might be going on, and don't be scared to do so. One thing that's got really well this season is an academy voice. So any parents from any one of our development centres, academy-wise, a player, parent, staff, anyone can click on this link and anonymously put some information in there in terms of what might be going on, any issues they might have, which then I obviously get, and I can discuss with my team if it's appropriate. and also resolve some issues going forwards. Okay, so yeah, that in a snapshot is who we are and what we do. If you've got any further questions, obviously, you know, I mean, Andy will have my email and stuff. You can fire them over to me, but obviously you'll go through Andy. But I'm approachable. I'm here. I can talk to anybody, no problems. Okay, but over back to you, Andy.
Brilliant. Thank you, Anton. Appreciate that, mate. And I appreciate your time tonight. Thank you, mate. Okay, guys, as always now, and these are massively important points, and a lot of where your parents and etc. that'll be watching, guys, will want to talk about the funding, how we make it work, how will it operate financially. Many believe, is it possible? And so this is how I envisage it and how I believe it'll work. I'm just going to move my screen. That's better. So I'll try not to mess up now because I did the last time. Okay. Listen, doing something like this, I've done it for a number of years, okay? And it's incredibly hard work, but it works. And I know it works. So, you know, we will hit bumps along the way. Nothing's easy. But for me, where it's massively important, being alongside a pro club now, when we've run these development centres before, it's been so much harder about what we do. Now it's a case of we're as one, so it will make a massive difference. In terms of the monies, players will pay a subscription like they did last season when they were with us at Hereford. So it's £40 for the 12 months. Half payment once signed and the balance by December the 1st. And that'll equate for one session and one match per week. What that is a little bit different for you guys that were with us last year, we did it monthly. What we're trying to do this year to try and make life a little bit simpler for us is by having the 2 figures in, so it doesn't spend a lot of the time last year I was spending on admin, etc. and I was having to do this. This is a massive part of it. And so what we're hoping to do, the kit packs are out there now. I know because I've ordered one today, so I'll touch on that later on. But if we can get those players that we're confident that aren't coming into trial that will sign, we can get those ordered and get that done for you guys. And then when we hopefully return, which will probably be late July, early August, then maybe the half payment starts then for those that are going to be signed, and then the balance by December the 1st. I know the other development centre, and Job's in here tonight, the development centre for them, manager for them, and they actually do the first payment in August and the other payment, and I think it's October. So, but we've been allowed to December because obviously we're new and we're starting to get it going. So again, they're working with us on that, which is great. Myself and my staff willing to invest in this in our first year because we think it's massively important. And, you know, we all know as coaches, you don't get paid for the hours you do because, you know, it is such a job that you do because you love doing it and you see the rewards. Like I showed you earlier with some of those rewards that we saw on there, that money can't buy that. And it is really, really massively important. But we're hoping, and I've already spoke with the college program about next year. Now, I know you guys are probably some of you 9s and 10s thinking, that don't affect me for a while. Trust me, you're 14s, you're only 18 months away before you're starting to think about that. So we're hoping to get college program in place next year. That's a massive one. We've already gone down the road. I've had 3 conversations and 2 meetings with them already about next year. So that's looking good. And of course, you go into the BTEC college program, it's going to help bring costs down because it's going to help invest in what we're doing. So we're massively looking at that. We're also looking at sponsorships. And I know there's a couple in here tonight that have already offered sponsorship, which is great, and I'll again touch on that again in a moment. And the reason that we look at doing this, guys, is because the post-16s program, when you have an under-18s, it's very expensive to run an under-18s, and the reason being a home match can cost you in the region of £250. And why I say that is you've got to hire a pitch, which last year was £95 for the pitch. You've then potentially got to provide food, which is another £40-odd. You've then got to get 3 match officials, a referee and linesman, which can be another £80-odd. You can be talking £250 for a home game. And that's because we want to put our boys at that level in the post-16s program. And we're going to run an 18s and a 21s. So that's double it. So, but we're trying to do it because I think that is the only way that we can ever bridge the gap to give these boys the opportunity. When, like I showed earlier, a Dan Brain got released at 16, where do they go then? You know, if they don't go into 18s football and there isn't an 18s football, they've suddenly got to jump into men's football, having only played, you know, junior football and youth football before. So I think that's a massive important part that we need to cover. So again, I look out there for anyone that's willing to invest in what we're trying to do. You know, in terms of sponsorship, that is going to be massive. It's going to help us going forward. And Anton has assured me, you know, that will come into our program to help us. We've got social media outlets. We've got our Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, etc. And they're at our disposal straight away so we can grow the brand. So any support from any sponsors, the publicity is going to be out there, which is great. We're going to have a page on the actual Academy website. So if you go onto the Academy website at the moment, the current Development Centre Job Centre is on the Job Centre. That sounded wrong. Jobs Development Centre is on there at the moment. And I had a look at it the other day, and there's a couple of lads on there that I know. Cam Pring was in the Development Centre at 2015. He's now at Bristol. He was at Bristol City. There was Adam Page, who was in the Development Centre and was eventually brought into the scholarship programme to get a pro contract. He was then loaned back to Hereford. So it does work. So, you know, if we can get some sponsorship, it will be massive, guys. And I'll touch on that in a little while. Just a little one on this one now. And I know this was something that I picked up off the development program website from the first team. So you look at the top left, there's the dream, the first team. But a lot of our 16 and 18-year-olds, they're not stupid. They understand that it's very few that make it at that. Like I said, if we get 2 a season, that means potentially 7 or 8 get let go. There's route. If you look at the top right, there's university, there's pathways. And if you go onto the Cheltenham website, you'll see there's lads that have gone to America and got scholarships in that. And there's one of them back in Hereford now that went on it. And I saw him last season and speaking to him about it. So there is opportunities. You look at all that on there, lads that will progress up through it. These are the sponsorship letters that I'm going to send out, guys. So if anyone's interested or know of somebody, we will get these through our social media outlets. But again, you look at them, there's 4 different sponsorship. There's a gold sponsorship, silver, bronze, and a player sponsorship. The gold one is what we're looking to try and sponsor our match day team kits. Because, you know, to get a match kit for our under 9s, 10s and 11s, you're looking at probably £600. And if you go your 14s, they're probably £750. And then obviously our 18s and 21s, you're probably £850 to £900. So we're looking for that. And, that, you know, these will all be on our social media outlets, guys. So don't worry if you can't read this now. And also it is going to be loaded up onto our YouTube channel as well, guys. So don't worry if you can read it at the moment. Just going to touch on the training schedule because I am conscious of the time, guys, for next season. I will be in charge of all the teams. So I've got lead coaches, assistant coaches running the sides. And when I say lead coaches and assistant coaches, I always just class it that I've got 2 coaches per age group. And because they both work it together and they're both capable of doing either one. Everyone will be working under my guidance and mentorship, as well as, you know, me, you know, over at the academy. Training nights to be confirmed as yet. Okay, we'll work with the coaches on that and around the players and their local teams. We all try and work within that. The matches for our 9s at 10s. Okay, it's now telling me that we're going to be out in 10 minutes. So matches of 9s and 10s we'll play at Yate. Potentially under 8s if we get enough. We can put them into a league. And I've already had a number of inquiries about that. And that's an age that I like to attack as well because I think they're just great fun to coach. Our under 11s will play their home matches at the Ranch, my place, and away in the JPL Midland League. Again, depending on numbers, but we may well run 3 teams between our 10s and 11s. Our under 13s and 14s will play at Berg Hill and Pegasus and in the JPL, and they will train once a week in current circumstances and play once a week. Just touching on that, I know the 9s and 10s before lockdown played not over 19 games last season before we had the lockdown, so they had plenty of game time. 13s and 14s, whilst it's, you know, we're saying once a week at the moment, obviously with my facility, it is a chance that we can use that more than that if and when we're available to get out and coach on it. So don't worry about that. The one thing I will say is that regarding the 10s and 11s, we've got potentially at those age groups about 40 odd boys. Now for 2 teams at under 7 and 7 aside and 9 aside, we may well put a 3rd team because I know there's more lads wanting to come in and trial. So rather than actually, and it's not about the numbers to get just to try and make it viable because we're covered on that. What I want to do is to give everybody that opportunity to try and play games. And, you know, I will ultimately have the say on where the players go in that, but I'll be guided and advised with the coaches. And it will be in an order of, we will have a strong team in the 11s. We may have a mixed one between the 10s and 11s if we have enough. And listen, there's plenty of players out there we know that, you know, that play a year down for many a time. Rashford, one at the moment, who's doing great stuff outside of football at the moment. But again, he played a year down for a couple of years to get back to the level he wanted to. So, you know, but that's plenty of things going on to that. Don't forget, like I say, we're going to use our social media platforms. They're massively important, guys. So please use them. Please follow us on them, because the more publicity we get, the greater we grow the brand. And that's what it's all about.
Andy Bevan. Well, why is you even dad? To ask him if he was doing it. Oh. No.
And also we're going to use Teamer as well, which I'll touch on again, and that's massively important. And the last bit on that, all the development centres will get players, will have free tickets for matches, and I think that's massively important, because I'd love the boys to go to matches. I said to the post-16s programme that I want them to go to matches, because we'll probably be there as staff, and we'll give them individual challenges to watch players in their position. Can they pick a formation? Can they understand what the right back is doing out of possession when the left winger's got it? Those sorts of things. So again, that we will actively encourage. Those are our social media outlets, guys. You've got the Twitter one, you've got the Facebook page, which we've set up again today. We did have it as a private group, but we've gone more public with it because we want to get it out there, because we want the sponsorship. And we've got our Instagram account, which would be better for the younger viewers. And then we've got our YouTube channel. And on the YouTube channel, we'll do training, and we'll have, matches we'll put onto there. We'll have this webinar, we'll have the previous one on there as well for the 16. So, it is stuff that we want us all to actively get involved with. That's just a snapshot of the Teamer notification, guys. That's actually mine today. I took that snapshot at 1 o'clock. Where this is important, I've got all the teams on there, so I see what everyone's doing, okay? So if you look at the top left, you've got Cheltenham Town under 14. And at 1 o'clock today, for the meeting tonight, they had 17 ticked green, which means they accepted. They had no one not available, but 4 not replied. This is where it's massively important for you guys to take a bit of responsibility. We do need, if you look down to the under 11s, 9 people haven't replied. Now, this is just for a meeting tonight, so it's not the end of the world, but we want this for training. So as the coaches know who's attending, who's not attending, the coaches are very particular about the prep they do for it. So the more that we know, the better. And I had an interesting incident last season where I let a lad go in November, and his parents, part of it was because he wasn't strong enough, etc. But then, and I said, you missed a lot of training, and his parents turned around and said, well, no, actually we didn't. And I went, well, by my Teamer attendance, you weren't at many events. Knowing that I had the coaches behind me that were saying, well, he did attend. But of course, because they didn't have the attendance on the Teamer, it's another thing that I'm saying, look, we want to make you, better players. That's a gimme. But we want to make you better people. Take that little bit of responsibility. You get a notification, and all you've got to do is say yes or no to attend. You don't even have to give a reason if you don't attend. So that's massively important, please, guys. If you get accepted into the centre, that's the letters that we will send out. Okay, and we're going to send them out. Some players will be accepted already, so we'll discuss that as coaches this week, and we'll try and get that out to some of you. And where that's important, guys, is it means, like I said earlier, you can get your kit packs ordered and all the rest of it. Some players, unfortunately, won't get offered a place just yet. They will have to come in and trial. Again, once you come in and you have your trial and we think it's successful, we then offer you a place in the centre, and that's the sort of letter you'll get. You'll see on there the 2 payments on there. So one for the 1st of September and one the 1st of December. That's for 12 months. And then you've got the bank details payable to Cheltenham Town if you wanted to pay a cheque, etc. So those are the sort of letters that you will get out, and hopefully we'll try and get some of that if me and the staff get a chance to get meetings this week. Just touching on the kit pack, guys, this is massively important for a lot of you, and I'm just going to have to move my screens down to the bottom. So the kit pack sizing. Now, Jobs helped me out superbly on this one. I've messaged in this afternoon regarding the sizes. Those are the age groups, and those are the sizes of kits that the areas do. Normally, we would say go to Sports Direct and try an area top and do it, but not quite so easy at the moment, is it? So you could be there like for 3 or 4 hours. So what I would say is, that just give us a shout back on any of that, because, or take a screenshot with your phone of that now and you'll be able to see it. But XS for 9 and 10, I spoke to 2 of the lads that are signed for Cheltenham at the moment, so 9s and 10s, and they've had that for a couple of seasons. So that was all, to be fair, quite self-explanatory. I'll just quickly run through the kit if I can move my screen. Yeah, I've moved that. Okay, that's kit training pack 1. And there's 2 difference. That one's 145 and the other one's 180. And where I've looked at it today, because I've actually ordered it, because obviously, I'm a parent in this as well. And that's the £145 one where you get 2 training tops, you get 2 shorts, you get the match day tracksuit, the polo and the training jacket. For the £180 one, what you get extra, you get the bottom left compression base layer, which the boys all wear, and then you get a kit bag as well. And I've priced it up, and it's cheaper to go for the 180 one. That's the one I've gone for today. And what's also important, guys, is if you can get, and that's not for me to play, by the way, although I'd probably get in that size, is what's important is you get the initials put on it, because we all know that our boys go to training, or girls, and they leave their kit bag by the side. They take their top off and they just throw it down. And if it hasn't got the initials, you've got no chance. So it is massively important. I think it was an extra today to get it all done on all of it. It was £14 on the kit. So it's certainly worth it, guys, if you can do that. We're there. We're there with 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go, guys. So we've just made it. What I will do now is, I know we're going to run out in literally 2 minutes. So if I can stop the share. I'll do that. Stop share. Okay, yeah, back to the main screen now with about. Okay, so all it's from me, guys. We're less than a minute now. So if there are any questions on any of it, I'd like to first of all thank Antoine for coming in tonight. Thank you, mate.
No problem. Thank you.
And hopefully we'll get a result tonight. And even a boring draw. I'll take a boring draw tonight. Let's just get to Wembley.
Anything other than a loss, we're happy.
Absolutely, mate. And thank you to Job as well for attending from our other development centre. So appreciate that, mate. Thank you, Oz. I know you've had a busier job than Matt Tunley tonight, and you've got the job for life now. He's dumped, mate, anyway, so he can get lost. So thank you for that, mate. Although I see it says 7 people are waiting in the waiting room. I just want to say thank you all for taking the time tonight. We will upload this. Sorry. Thank you, Oz. I see you back on screen now. Thank you, mate.
No worries, no worries. I'm not sure I've got full admin privileges, Andy, but we can.
Don't worry, mate. You've done a great job. And the great thing is, of course, there was obviously no fires in the area or accidents, and you weren't called out, so even better, mate. So just from me, guys, thank you all for attending. Any questions on anything? We will be putting stuff out on Teamer very soon. We will start putting stuff out that I want you to start training-wise, etc. And I know some of the 16s and 18s are listening in tonight, so we're going to start stuff with them regarding letting them know what's going on as well, guys. So please follow the social media outlets. Anything you need, just give us a shout, and we will get back to you. Thank you all very much. Have a great evening, and hopefully Cheltenham go through to the playoff final. Thank you, guys.
That's fun. Take care, everybody.